Deontay Wilder vs Tyson Fury 2 is on. This is the battle camp. Please hit the subscribe button. You'll find it in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. So I was just looking at Twitter and I noticed that Deontay Wilder mentioned a few hours ago that he had a big announcement, and a few minutes after the Anthony Joshua Ruiz weigh-in, Deontay Wilder tweeted the following: "Well, as I always say, I'm the realest champion in the business. And as I mentioned before, I must handle all my controversial fights ASAP. Luis Ortiz is first, then Tyson Fury is next. By no means he's made a typo. By no means am I looking past Ortiz. He's a dangerous fight, but I am looking through him. Brackets, window shopping. Use a window shopper. Shit, I'm the best. Ain't no guessing what other champion give you what you're missing." Bit of a rap there at the end. And this is the most important bit, really. One fell to his knee, the other on his back. If you got questions, then we run it back. 413 Media, hashtag Bomb Squad, hashtag we working, hashtag till this day, hashtag King. But this is the most important bit. All contracts have been signed already. It's officially on. And then soon after, Mike Coppinger tweeted, "The rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is a done deal. Looks like it will take place in the early part of 2020. Really taking wind out of the sail from Joshua US debut with timing of announcement." So this obviously caught me by surprise, and it was a bit of a, I don't know, man. It's a bit of a risky move, in my opinion. Like, you've already booked yourself in a fight with Luis Ortiz, and then you're going to fight Tyson Fury after. Commendable, because obviously they're both very good fights, and it's especially the Fury fight. That's something that I definitely want to see happen again. So I'm glad it's happening. But the annoying thing with all of this is that fight won't happen until next year, basically, the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight. And if we go back to when Tyson Fury signed with ESPN, what was Bob Arum saying? He basically said Tyson Fury, he's going to have 2 fights, and then we'll do the Deontay Wilder fight in the early part of the year. I haven't seen any comment from Tyson Fury or Top Rank or anything like that. But I'd just be interested to see how this is going to work, logistically speaking, you know. What channel is it going to come on? Is it going to be both on ESPN pay-per-view and Showtime pay-per-view? And I like, part of me kind of thinks, like, if you're Deontay Wilder, you're taking these, let's face it, they're tough fights against Luis Ortiz and Fury. Like, obviously the Luis Ortiz, like, that is, on paper, it's a tough fight, but it feels like he's peaked, and he's now kind of on the downward trend of his career, and it should be an easier night's work for Deontay Wilder than the first fight was. But obviously, it's heavyweight boxing, you never know. But then the Fury fight, they're both risky fights, and I don't know who's paying him what or how much he's getting from these fights, and I don't really care. But, like, if you're going to take a risky fight, like, why not just fight AJ? Like, and actually become, like, you have a genuine opportunity to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And it's not like it's a foregone conclusion that AJ is going to knock you out. It's like it's genuinely a 50-50 fight, the same way the Fury fight is. I'd say the Luis fight is probably more 60-40 or 65-35 in Wilder's favour, just off recent form. But, like, you're taking risky fights. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't make any logical sense to me, anyway. It's like there's this personal vendetta against Eddie Hearn or Joshua or whoever else. But, like, that's the opportunity where you make the most money, and you've got the most to gain from a professional boxing standpoint. I don't wish this endeavour to go badly for Deontay Wilder. I hope you know he earns good money fighting Luis Ortiz, and he does the same, and he does better numbers fighting Fury. But the fact of the matter is, I just don't understand the logic behind it to an extent. Like, like I said, you're taking risky fights, so why not risk it and try and become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Why not? Like that kind of is a bit mind-boggling to me. But yeah, that's where we are. As I said, there's no comment, or there's nothing, no statement from Tyson Fury's side. But the fact that he said contracts are signed, I'm assuming that means contracts are signed. And I'm pretty certain he wouldn't have just gone out and tweeted this himself. I mean, if this came from Tyson Fury, I'd definitely be a little bit like, oh, well, is Tyson Fury just having one of his funny turns? You know, you got to take everything that Tyson Fury says with a pinch of salt, because he's a bit of an oddball sometimes. But with it coming from Deontay Wilder, I'm assuming that it's a done deal, effectively. And you got to remember, the first time the Fury fight got announced, the fight got announced before there was a date or a time or a place. So I'm assuming this might be a similar sort of case. But both of these guys have basically, well, Fury's got to have 2 more fights before the rematch, and Wilder's got to get past Ortiz at some point later this year. So obviously, depending on how those fights go, and injuries and shit like that, I suppose that'll have a big bearing on when they schedule in the rematch, Fury and Wilder 2 next year. But all that aside, just also the timing of these announcements, they're really like, every move they make is with Anthony Joshua in mind, with the announcement of the Luz Ortiz fight, just as Anthony Joshua had basically said that he wants to physically meet with Deontay Wilder and talk to him to try and get this deal over the line for them to fight each other. And then now, straight after the weigh-ins for the AJ fight, basically a day before AJ fights Ruiz, they're trying to take this limelight, and that's effectively what Mike Coppin just said. I'm not really sure how what's the right word? I'm not really sure how effective this is. I'm not really sure whether it will have an effect on AJ's fight with Ruiz. I just feel like this is all in one bubble. It's not like this is just bringing more attention to the heavyweight division, if that makes sense. So the fact that they've announced it before the AJ fight, as soon as you mention Wilder's fighting Fury, the first thing people are going to say, what about AJ? And it's going to bring more attention to the fact that he's fighting tomorrow. That's just the way I see it. Like I think any movement within Fury, AJ, and Wilder, it has a positive. Any movement by one of those guys has a positive effect on the other two, because their names are so attached to each other. That's just the way I see it. But then again, I'm in the boxing bubble. I'm like immersed in it. I totally am in this boxing community, the online boxing community. So like, I don't know. I'm not a casual fan, so I don't know, whether this would have an adverse effect on a casual audience. But I just can't see how it can have an adverse effect, because, like I said before, but these three names are so attached to each other. Every time one of them, any piece of news comes from any single one of them, it automatically implicates the other two guys. So yeah, that's just my take on it so far. Obviously, it's very early days. We don't know much about the fight, or the details around the fight. I suppose we'll have to wait for that over the next coming days. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below. Don't be scared to hit the like button, share button, subscribe button, all of the buttons. And I'll get you on the next one.